So, budget 2025 projected deficits. This is 25, 26, 26, 27, 27, 28, 28, 29, 29, 30. So, for this one, 78 billion deficit. So, spending $78 billion more than the government is bringing in as revenue. 65 billion for the next one, 64 billion for the next one, 58 billion, and then 57 billion 2029, 2030. This is completely insane. This is vastly more than even Justin Trudeau was going to spend. And I mean, that's just what they're telling us. I'm going to go ahead and guess it's going to actually be more. Right? So you have here the day-to-day operating deficit. Then you have the capital investment. It's all just spending. This is all just spending. This is all just money that the government will have to borrow, which will be a burden on every Canadian and their children and their grandchildren. So with our $1.3 trillion debt right now, to service that, by the way, we are spending over $1 billion a week just for the interest on the debt. That's not the debt. That's just the interest on the debt. That's more than the government gives in transfer payments for healthcare to the provinces. And I want to remind you of this. The interim Parliamentary Budget Officer, and this is the kind of things he's been saying. This is leading up to the budget.
Certainly from our perspective, we're at the precipice. So we haven't gone over the precipice. We're kind of looking out over the cliff at this point. And we're at a point where, based upon our numbers, things cannot continue as they are. And I think
things cannot continue as they are. And they're continuing it as they are, only even worse. So precipice. Precipice is bad, right? That's bad? Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's bad. I think that's what this guy's warning is about. And I think this is the precipice right here. So, yeah, not a lot of great news for Canada here. FP Champagne says it's not the time for balanced budgets. This is what we've been hearing for 10 years. You know, the budget will balance itself. Let's see. And it's tabled a budget that comes with a $78 billion deficit. This is not generational investment. It's generational debt. Yes. Carney's budget makes Trudeau look fiscally responsible. That is from Government Corrupt there. And yeah, let's take a listen. Now, I noticed that for the last 10 years, Liberals like this guy just keep getting up in Parliament and telling us everything's great and their plans are awesome and totally going to work, but then they never do for some reason. Anyway, let's hear it this time.
The budget I present today comes at a time of profound change, a time to build. The world is undergoing a series of fundamental shifts at a speed, scale, and scope not seen since the fall of the Berlin Wall. And
so that's why your great-grandchildren have to be under a crushing debt. That's why your great-great-grandchildren will have to live in debt poverty because Berlin Wall or something. This is that responsible leadership. This is that what we get from the economic genius, Mark Carney. And none of this is actually going to do anything. None of this is actually going to build Canada's economy because all of the same problems that make Canada uncompetitive still exist. And yeah, making oil more expensive, for instance, making everything Canada does more expensive through like industrial carbon taxes, that actually doesn't make you more competitive. Weird. It's weird. Carney says it does, but then that doesn't make any sense. We'll be more competitive by being more expensive for no reason. Let's see, what's in the budget here? Carney's budget includes $150 million boost for CBC. Well, he did promise to bribe CBC during the election. So we all remember Mark Carney pledging to give the CBC an extra $150 million. Of course, they would only get that if he won, right? He'd have to win to get that. So, I mean, I kind of call that a bribe. But $150 million boost for CBC, that'll really get the economy roaring. And let's see, a plan to explore participation in Eurovision. Eurovision. Canada has not officially taken part in the song contest, although Canadians have participated on behalf of other countries. Most, I don't care. I don't give a shit about Eurovision. Do not care. This is it's just baffling. Baffling. That's serious economic genius, Mark Carney. CBC Watcher says, Eurovision, seriously? I guess it really is serious because it's in the budget. So anyway, this isn't going over super well. Bloc leader Blanchette says his party will not be voting for the Carney Liberal budget. I didn't expect that. I think Blanchette despises Carney. From Cat Canada, she posted this. Poilievre slams Carney for breaking every single promise the Prime Minister made just 7 months ago. Let's take a look. He says Conservatives will not be supporting this budget. That's expected.
This costly budget forces Canadians to spend more on debt interest than on healthcare transfers. More than the government collects in GST. That means every dollar Canadians pay in GST will go to bankers and bondholders instead of to doctors and nurses. All while he raises the industrial carbon tax on farm equipment and fertilizer and therefore food, on steel, concrete, and other industrial projects needed to build homes, a big tax increases on homes and food.
It's all just crazy. I mean, we could have elected Pierre and we could have just slashed regulation, slashed taxes and made Canada a profitable place to do business. If you make your country a good place to do business where you can make money, investment will flood in. It'll just do it naturally. You won't need to subsidize anything, right? They'll willingly show up and say, yes, this is a place we can do business now. But we haven't done that. We have not done that. And I want to show you this. Okay, so here is the Parliamentary Budget Officer again. First, I want to go back to here. Do you see that? Do you see this? The precipice. We're calling this the precipice here. This is the precipice that we've been warned about. Let's go back here.
Stupefying, shocking, right? This is not like it's not a funny fiscal outlook.
Pierre Poilievre says Mark Carney and the Liberals call this progress. What we call it is decline, higher taxes, debt, and inflation that you pay for. So they're going to have to borrow money, right? They're going to have to borrow money. That's going to be inflation. How much more will they ask Canadians to sacrifice in this costly Liberal budget? Everything. Mark Carney is here to extract every penny from Canada and max out the national credit card. Enough decline, enough sacrifice, bring an affordable budget. Well, it's not coming. Let's see. Canada's quality of life, global rank, 2015, 9th, 2025, 27th.
Certainly from our perspective, we're at the precipice.
Anyway, that's all I'm going to say about that. Please like, share, and subscribe. Subscribing really helps me out. I thank you for that. I will see you next time.